Welcome to the Board Game Snobs Podcast. Critically harsh reviews with a touch of class.
And go.
Welcome to another episode of the podcast that keeps on giving you what you really, really want.
Tell me what you want.
It's just mainly more banter with just a
That's what you want? You want more banter?
I know, actually. I want less of it. This is Jerry, the star of the show. What are you drinking?
This is Gabi, the primary host of the show.
I'm drinking a lot of it, whatever it is in there.
It's a lot of ice.
That's a lot of liquid,
It's
too.
a lot of ice.
Okay, I'm just worried about you.
It's an optical illusion.
I can be worried about you. I suspect this podcast won't be as interesting as the next. We generally record
we're good.
2 in a row, and that second one is generally pretty lit, if you know what I mean.
Well,
You know what I
you
mean?
got to get there somehow or another.
Ah, yes.
So, Jerry, what have you been up to?
Oh, is that what we're doing? Are we doing this dry opening?
No.
We had Dan Hughes on a few episodes back.
Yeah,
Very
a couple
nice.
episodes back.
I just listened to that episode myself. It was very nice. I appreciate it. It was a great episode. Thank you, Dan, for coming on. Although I wish we could air like the...
Oh, my bad.
Is that Dan? Or that's Mike, probably. Delicio, begging to come on.
He is.
We don't have time for him.
He's like, what's the deal? I can't come on?
He's on the retreat, the Dice Tower retreat all the time.
He's in a hammock right now. Tiki torches all around.
I wish we could air the unedited versions of all of our guest episodes and like all the terrible things that they say. You have to edit so much out, especially when we have Dan on.
It's shocking. It's a shocking amount of stuff.
It's not the cursing
Oh, no.
as much it is the conspiracy theories, like his passion for things such as Bigfoot and just you would not have imagined that Dan would be that way, but he is. He's
a man of science, much like yourself.
Not to oust him, but him being a flat earther has really affected his. For instance, with Core Quest, that's the reason there's no minis. They're all like the little 2D flat standees, and that's the problem.
Doesn't believe in anything round.
That's the problem with the shipping. He won't let. He's paid extra because he doesn't think that the ships.
He doesn't want it to fall off the edge of the map.
They have to go around the Horn, Cape Horn, so that's why it's taking forever. They're trying to find the Northwest Passage to get Core Quest over here because Dan thinks that they're going to hit an ice wall if they go west.
Unrelated. There's a term I have noticed that is very predominant now that I don't remember hearing until recently, or I just haven't paid attention. And I've used it myself. Instead of me saying when we recorded our podcast with Dan, I contacted Dan. Now everyone says I reached out to Dan. They reached out to me. I'm going to reach out to you. The other day I needed something, so I reached out to so-and-so. When did reach out become the word?
That was that song, wasn't it, in the 60s? Reach out!
Reach out and touch base.
That's
Depeche Mode.
Dispersed mode.
Dispersed mode.
That's when I'm in that kind of mode.
Depeche mode.
Dispersed mode?
But, I mean, what
Joe
happened?
Pesci mode.
What happened to just saying? I contacted him. They contacted me.
Joe Pesci mode activated.
Yeah, I need to contact them. No, it's reach out. It's more like emotionally based, more like in tune with your. They reached out.
Well, we're based.
But I don't know. Everyone says reach out. It bugs me.
But don't say it.
Just say contacted.
No.
I contacted you. I don't know. And we're not best friends. I'm not reaching out to spill my emotions to you. I need to know if you can send me this game.
I communicated to you what I need.
Communicated. I don't reach out. Let's reach out to this publisher and see if they reached out to me to see it. No. They contacted me to see if I'd review it.
This sounds like a rant. This sounds like something you're very passionate about.
It bothers me. And I've used it. Like I said, I used it myself, but I think it's just because I've heard it so much. Reached out.
Well, stop saying it.
It's bugging me.
All right, well, stop.
I'm stopping right now.
Just like you and Reach Out and Dan and his passion for the flat earth, I too are anti many other things.
What?
Okay. I had to, we'll talk about this on the next podcast, but I've been sick here lately a lot. And I've been back and forth to some doctors.
You don't ever tell me when you're sick.
I'll talk about it here in a little bit. So I was trying to get my medical records,
You're
and
trying to protect me.
the lady asked,
You should reach out to me and let me know what's going on.
where should I fax this to? Not knowing that I am a fervent anti-faxer. And when I told her that I'm an anti-faxer, she paused for a long time, and I realized she misunderstood. I'm not anti-vax. I'm anti-fax. There's no need to have a fax machine.
You're also anti-fax in that you get a lot of things wrong.
It's called email. Scan it. Send it to me. Hotmail.com.
a PDF.
HOTMALE.com.
Through the fiber optics.
I get my email through Chippendales.
Whatever. In Antlers, it was more like beep, 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 beep.
Modulation.
This just in.
Anyways, faxing things is out. Reaching out and touching things. And pretty much Dan's going to have to... I know Dan's very passionate. Doesn't think the world's an oblate spheroid. But it is round and juicy. It's round and juicy, and I'm waiting on.
It is juicy. It's 90% water.
Aren't we like 70%, 75% water?
Yes.
We're basically Aquaman. We make fun of Aquaman, Jason Momoa, due to his passion for fish. Does he control? I have not watched the Aquaman. That is one of the superhero shows that I want to watch. I've seen some poor reviews for that. Eternals,
yes.
That's pretty bad, I guess. It had, what's his face in it? Was it Game of Thrones or somebody was in it?
Oh, Jon Snow.
Jon Snow was in it.
It also had Mrs. Smith, Agent Mrs. Smith.
She broke up
AKA Tomb Raider.
Brangelina.
She broke up Rachel and
Brad. That's sad.
It is sad.
And that's something that I won't stand for.
Maybe she thought they were on a break.
Homebreakers. Yeah. I don't know. What is she doing now?
Wait.
Homebreakers. That's what it is? Homewreckers. Homewreckers. They're same thing.
Speaking of your, I'm
going to reach out.
Knack for getting things wrong.
I don't get stuff wrong. Oh, you're talking about that email?
You are anti-fax.
This pompous email sent trying to correct my language.
Said, for the love of God, can Jerry please pronounce Viscounts correctly?
What did I say?
It's Viscount. You say Viscounts.
Viscounts.
Viscounts
of the West Kingdom. Vice Viscounts.
You say it wrong. Either way, it's all wrong.
It doesn't matter. Nobody plays that game.
Lots of people play that game.
Nobody likes that game. Nobody likes that game.
Are you nobody?
Yeah. I'm humble enough to self-deprecate now. Thank you. Yes, I've said
you've reached it?
I've reached out.
Wow, this has been an interesting first 10 minutes.
Your own personal Jesus.
Speaking of Jesus points,
and now a hard merge into board games.
We played Red Cathedral.
Those are influence points.
Oh, we call them
prestige
Jesus
points, and then there was Jesus. But you had. Yeah, this is by DeVere. I'm ready for my close-up now, Mr. DeVere.
What's that?
You don't remember that?
No.
That was like Madonna.
Madonna,
wasn't it?
What about daughter Donna?
No, I'm pretty sure she was the one that said
Brother
that.
Donna?
I can't
Daddy
remember.
Donna.
One of the Donnas.
Pop Donna. That'd be more like Pop Donna.
My favorite.
Mom, Pa Donna.
My favorite one's the prima donna. Remember when Madonna, remember when she's Dick Tracy?
She was not Dick Tracy, but she sang to Dick Tracy.
She sang to Dick Tracy.
I loved Dick Tracy as a child.
I Dick
purchased
Tracy.
a yellow fedora. I purchased a trench coat. And I purchased the toy watch that came out in those times that you could talk into.
I thought you were just doing Tom Vassell cosplay.
It's very similar, shockingly. Especially now that he has an Apple Watch. He is basically Dick Tracy.
Come in, Z. Come in.
Today, DTHQ.
And now a hard merge into board games.
No, the Red Cathedral. The Red Cathedral by DeVere.
Well, no, DeVere publishes it. Who is the actual designers?
There's two designers, actually, and I was going to talk about them because I was looking them up on BGG. One is Sherry S.
BGG, which is boardgamegeek.com. In case you're a new listener to this podcast, which you might be because we've been featured on Podbean. Now it's too late to start talking about what kind of podcast we are. I was thinking, we need to do more of a setup every now and then.
Why?
Because what if somebody new just tunes in.
They do tune in, and
we're
they
just
love us.
We're just two idiots that just start talking about
They
stupid crap.
love us. It's the inside. We don't want to start off every podcast with an intro.
No, but every now and then.
And not every episode's a
Welcome
pilot.
to the Board Game Snobs.
They don't care.
This is the podcast where two best friends drink and talk about stuff, and usually the byline that holds us together is a board game.
Sheila. Sheila is one of the designers of the Red Cathedral.
Okay.
Also, a guy named Israel.
I'm sure you're butchering these names.
No, I don't know, but they have their names on Red Cathedral, but they have them hyphened, or not hyphened, but anyways. So they've done several games together, and I'm trying to look up the one, Terraforming Dice Duel, but some of these are from like Devere, and they're games that we haven't played because they're in other countries. Waffle Hassle.
Well, Waffle House. Wow.
Ludnova.
I've heard of that.
They're a company.
Oh.
Anyways, so this is a good game. I'm just going to come out and tell you right now. This is a good game.
Way to build up the suspense.
I have no need to build suspense. People don't come here for suspension. They come here for facts. And
the Red Cathedral lead a construction team to build St. Basil's Cathedral under the Tsar's reign.
You're building towers? Are they faulty? Our British listeners are dying laughing. LOL as they drop their biscuits.
Scones.
No, those are biscuits. They don't eat scones. They eat biscuits.
They eat scones.
I'm the friend with Dan. George, as I call him.
Jorge.
That's his middle name. Daniel Jorge Hughes.
Designer, Isra and Shay.
I just told you. I just went over this. Why are you repeating everything I just said?
Artist. Okay, never mind. Go ahead.
So, in Red Cathedral.
I'm going to have to edit a bunch of this one.
Why?
I don't know. I don't feel like it's good. Have you ever been recording a podcast and like, I don't know. It's I don't know.
Well, why don't you turn it up a notch?
His name is Israel.
I told you. I looked it up. Why are you repeating everything? This is why the podcast sucks, because you're repeating everything I just said.
Don't holler at me.
This is another thing we got to stop. Right here. Get it together. Pull it together. All right, let's just stop for a second.
Okay.
Let's leave it running. We got to have a side in the bar here. Listeners will tune out for a second.
Okay,
you got to pull this crap together. You're the producer of one of the greatest. Why are you?
I'm so embarrassed. My nose is running. I got some tissue.
This is one of the greatest podcasts about board games.
That all ran together real hard
on podbean.com.
You need to.
Well, I'm going to do the ad read. I'll do the ad read because I know how to do ads, because I know about ads. But you got to stop this amateur hour stuff.
Sometimes.
And get it together.
It's addition by subtraction.
This is not addition by subtraction.
And Enrique's not here.
Enrique's here. So this podcast is sponsored by This is an ad read. This podcast is sponsored by Podbean. Podbean is what is sponsored by us. Podbean is the easiest way to create your own podcast. We use Podbean to host the Board Game Snobs. That's the podcast you're listening to right now. And you can download the free Podbean podcast app to start, record, and publish your very own podcast in minutes. Podbean provides everything you need to run your podcast and to record and publish episodes directly from the app from your phone. Download the free... the Podbean app today. That's POD. POD. You remember them?
Mm-hmm.
No, that was Disturbed. POD was Youth of the Nation.
We are.
BEAN. Bean.
Youth of the Nation.
Like Mr. Bean.
My wife is calling me.
Don't answer. Just answer. Just keep talking. I'm on there. Head on over to Podbean, www.podbean.com, and use the code... This is so unprofessional. Podcast 21 for your first 30 days of podcast hosting for free. You should check it out. I don't know why. How do we end up getting... Why? But it's because Podbean is featuring us. That's why. And when they feature you, there's a chance that we might get more listeners. So this is... I don't like to think that we've sold out, but rather that we've bought in.
This episode's a train wreck. My wife called in the middle of you reading that.
Your wife is putting together IKEA bookcases.
Kallax. That's like Kal-El.
Superman. He's better than Aquaman, unless he was in water.
Superman's better than anybody.
Can Superman,
unless you happen to have a green rock on you,
hold his breath? Can Superman go underwater?
Superman can super hold his super breath.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Could he drown?
No. If he does, all you got to do is take him up to the sun and he's resurrected.
I think he can drown.
Superman can hold his breath for eternity.
Bill Jazzer will let us know. Bill Jazzer will let us know. Bill Jazzer knows things. He is a great listener.
Bill Jazzer emailed also saying our last few episodes were really good. That's until he hears this one.
He should start his own podcast on podbean.com.
Podbean.com, a fine podcast host, better than Libsyn.
Who's that? That sounds like a boy band with a lisp. Libsyn? Libsyn? I don't know about them.
We didn't get very far into Red Cathedral.
All right, so neither did they, because apparently a lot of people died while they built this thing, didn't they? This is a historical fact. I did research on this. So the Red Cathedral, I think, is built in the 80s.
Is it called the Red Cathedral because it's commies?
Because Ivan the Red.
Oh, not communism.
Well, they were, weren't they?
Why do they call them the Reds?
Well, because the blue are...
Like commies is Reds.
I don't know. Don't say that. We have a lot of we're big in Russia.
Is that not nice to say?
Ivan the Terrible. And he's probably had a lot of blood. That's probably why.
Ivan was building the Red Cathedral.
Yes, Ivan the Red.
Well, that doesn't sound so terrible.
Tsar, Ivan the Terrible.
Tsar.
I said Tsar. I said Tsar. That's what I said. I know how to pronounce things. Anyways, anywho, you blowing your nose? I swear.
I turned my mic off.
The Red Cathedral is a rondel game with dice and a lot of very awesome artwork.
The next one's going to be better, guys. I promise.
You explain to me. You explain this to me.
All right, boy, Rondell.
This game, which we opened and learned all by ourselves.
Oh, yeah. No help from Nutshell on YouTube.
Is that his name, Nutshell?
Games in a Nutshell.
Oh, yeah, that guy. He
very good playthroughs.
Very nice.
Not playthroughs, but teaches.
Nutshell. Very nice.
Yes.
So we watched that, and then we played this, and this game is very simple. You have 3 simple actions. You're either claiming part of the little cathedral, which is built out of these little cards.
You're like, I'm going to build the base.
You put your little flag on it, on the card.
You stake your claim.
I'm building this for you.
I'm building this.
This is my roof.
Oh, wait. I'm supposed to do a joke for Oliver. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Dishes.
Dishes who?
Dishes Sean Connery.
You do a good Sean Connery impression. The jokes, though, are not great. But the impressions are spot on.
Spot on.
So just like Red October. Did you know Gates McFadden was in Red October? Have I told you this story?
Why is it the Red October? Why is everything from Russia red?
Because they like the color.
The red.
Did you know she was in it? She quit Star Trek.
I did not know. She quit Star Trek for A Hunt for Red October.
That season.
No, she did not.
That season, she was gone. She's Beverly Crusher.
She quit it for that. I don't remember her being in it at all.
Because she got all of her scenes cut. So she went into and she was in Red October. I guess she was Sean Connery. Maybe she was I don't know, Russian something. But her scenes all got cut.
She had red hair.
Was
Wesley in it?
Was
her boy?
But Alec Baldwin was in it.
He was.
Yep, and he's in trouble right now.
Most things in here don't react well to bullets. What are we going to call this podcast?
Keep talking about the Red.
The Red.
That's a great song by Chevelle.
We should rename our podcast The Red Bantering Snobs.
That would imply that we're communist or something. I don't know because we're getting
Red Cathedral is a strategic Euro board game.
And now a hard merge into board games.
In this, you're going to take one of 3 actions, which you didn't really finish talking about.
You plant your flag and say, I'm going to build this mess. Or you go out and get the materials to build such mess. Mind you utilize a nice little dice rondelle thing. Or you deliver said materials to your work site. Those are the 3 actions. So you're only going to do 1, 2, or 3, A, B, or C. And the game has a nice, rather confusing player board. But once you've learned the game, understand the icons, it all falls into place. And it's a nice little reminder of what you're doing. And so I thought, number one, I can't remember which listener's always saying that we need to talk about the components. This is a little box. I don't like the box shame.
Box what?
Box shame.
Box shaming. Okay.
There's okay. There's a lot of things that I like that are big. I like big boxes.
Big butts.
I like you. I do not like when a board game box is too big.
Right.
That is a shame. It takes up needless room.
Correct.
Room that could be utilized for other things. Red Cathedral is perfect. It's exactly the size it needs to be.
It's very similar in size to the Garfield games.
It's got a picture of the cathedral in the background, and then this one Russian guy, he's barefooted with a hammer, and he's thinking to himself,
what have I got myself into?
We should unionize. He's sitting there looking down, thinking,
he's probably thinking, why is everything so red around here?
What is Vasily doing? Should I bring up, like, something could be blue? Like, but
God forbid something be blue around here.
Exactly. God forbid something be blue. That was the thing. And so they're working on this cathedral. Why are you laughing so hard?
This is a good one.
Okay. So he's sitting there. And so now Russia. So there's a bear. They train bears to ride bicycles. Have you seen that? The Russian bicycle bears. I got this YouTube channel that's just like Russia is like the Florida of the world. And they all have cameras. They all have cameras on their cars, so they see all the wrecks. And these guys drive like Texans. I mean, they're awful. They drive everywhere, and they're hauling. And what's funny is that whenever they wreck,
no need for speed limits in Russia.
When they wreck, you just hear.
That's pretty good.
That was really good.
It was.
You sound like what's that guy on Rocky?
I'm sure it's super cliche.
If he dies, he dies.
If he dies, he dies.
I can't do it. No
need for speed limits in Russia.
How do you do the accent? Teach
I don't know.
me. That's good.
I'm trying.
That's very good.
I've been trying it for a long time.
This cultural appropriation.
I'm sure I'm offending everyone that speaks Russian.
Cultural appropriation.
This cultural appropriation.
I'm borderline Italian. I don't know what this is.
Nuclear vessels.
Oh, Chekhov.
Oh, he checked out.
The young, did he? Is he still alive? Walter?
Which one?
Walter's still alive.
Walter's made alive. The younger fella is not.
Yeah,
sadly.
and I really liked him. He did a.
It was very good.
Did a zombie film. Really did like him. His name.
What was the zombie film?
I don't know, but it has a Hugo song in it. Where Hugo
Weaving?
No, Hugo the singer. I got 99 problems, but something ain't one. Can't say this. This is a family film.
You mean Jay-Z?
No, Hugo.
I don't know what you're talking
about.
Hugo
is a singer.
I don't think so.
Yes, he is. And so, hang on a second. Let me tell you about Hugo. Hugo is a very famous, but yet obscure.
I don't know what you
Hugo.
99 Problems. That's Jay-Z.
I know, but Hugo redid it, and it's a great. He's a great singer. Hugo, who is a Thai actor. Hugo Chakabr. Okay, I can't say his last name. He's a songwriter. And signed to Jay-Z's Rock Nation album, so that's probably why he's singing some of Jay-Z's songs. But he has some beautiful music. Look up Hugo. So Devere,
And now a hard merge into board games.
has made some fine games. I like the little game about the worms, spice,
silk.
That's what I said. Mm-hmm. Let the silk flow.
Let the silk flow. Yes.
They've got Papao, which we haven't played, but we desperately need to because I keep forgetting that we have it. They have a nice game that I really like, both solo and cooperative. The Michael Stroganoff.
Mm-hmm.
Stroganoff is a dish. It's a meat dish, isn't it?
Yes.
It's a great game. It's very meaty.
It's meat with noodles.
So everybody says, like Hamburger Helper.
Yes.
Do you remember Hamburger Helper with a little hand, a little glove, with the face?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who thought that would be a wise icon.
It worked for a long time.
But he was a hand that he didn't have 5 fingers. He just had 4, didn't he?
It was deformed.
He was a deformed hand with a face that was supposed to be your helping hand. What about a helping white glove with a face on it makes you think, I'm going to help you make dinner? It's weird.
Maybe it was like the hand of a cook. Like maybe they used to wear white gloves back in the day.
And he cut his hand off and the hand animated itself. reanimated and became the hamburger helper.
And he lost a finger along the way.
And that is in the hamburger.
The fingers in the
Fingers
hamburger.
in the hamburger. And that's why when they say bring finger food, you're like, wait a minute.
I've got some hamburger helper.
Not quite.
DeVere also makes Holmes
And Mycroft.
Sherlock versus Mycroft.
Mycroft. Which is
good.
Yes.
It's a good one as well.
Mycroft.
That's one of my favorite 2-player games.
And Lara Croft.
Mycroft, Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Ark of the Covenant.
Russians. The Russians were in.
They were number
Number 4 with the aliens.
The aliens came.
The aliens
right.
of the Crystal Skull.
So they went from the Nazis to the Russians.
We had to. You had to.
I'm surprised it wasn't the Red Skull.
He was a
Nazi.
Marvel. He was in Marvel. Who was a Nazi Marvel. Red Nazi communist. It's all weird.
It's all very
None
weird.
of this makes a lot of sense.
Doesn't at all.
But the Red Cathedral does.
The Red Cathedral is 2 thumbs up from this guy.
Wait a minute. We haven't even talked about it.
Oh.
It's a small box.
Oh, we've been there.
And it's got great artwork. Did you notice the cards? You don't pay attention.
The towers?
No, the board, all of it. It's beautiful.
No, I didn't.
I swear, everything about it is beautiful artwork. This is some amazing, amazing artwork.
I don't know about saying amazing, because I didn't notice it.
Well, you don't notice anything.
I do too.
You don't notice anything.
I noticed.
You've gotten everything here
Red Notice.
wrong.
Not a movie about communism being noticed. A movie with Ryan Reynolds, Dwayne Johnson, and Wonder Woman.
Gal Gadot.
Gal Gadot.
She's Israel.
Mm-hmm. Israel, designer of Red Cathedral. Continue.
So with Red Cathedral, that was a merge and a half there. This game, the choices that you have to make, for instance.
I'm going to label this podcast Stream of Consciousness.
What?
That's what we've been doing.
What part? I'm glad that we're getting featured on Podbean this
Word
week.
Association.
Because I don't think that
Word Association, the podcast.
They need to know. They need to know what the rest of the show is like. No more of this putting your best foot forward.
Enough of these interviews and talks about anxiety and depression. From now on, it's just drunken banter.
Dan Hughes came on our show.
He's ruined
He
us.
elevated us a little bit. We got to bring it back down. So the choices that you have to make are like, which part of the cathedral are you going to plant your flag and work on? And you see what resources that you need on that card, and also what you'll get, how much money and how much prestige points, the victory points in the game that you'll get for completing this card. And so you rush out there and plant your little flag. But when you do that, when you rush out there, you also get this little bitty token that you can then place on your player board. And you can pay to utilize this little token and its benefits every time you select a dice. Now, you select dice in this rondelle fashion to get resources. And basically, they've taken a rondelle and they put a nice little twist on it.
That's my boy.
The dice can move however many spaces per however many pips there are on it. Exactly. Except if it's
not up to.
It's that.
It's exactly. That's what makes this game so very difficult.
Which is a pain in the butt to do. But either way, it's a great way of being able to bounce around and get what you need, and being able to get what you need and utilize those resources to build part of that cathedral. But it's a neat little... That rondelle really makes you think, because you want to use the dice. There's like 5 different dice. They're all different colors. And one of those dice out there is your color. And you can manipulate that dice by paying money to move it a little bit further. But that's hard to do because you don't want to spend money, because money is points at the end as well.
But what makes it difficult, the manipulation isn't minus or plus. It's only plus.
Yeah, so you can
only move your die forward. You can't pay a penny and move it backwards. The rondelle is the most difficult part of this game, because you have to move it exactly. And if you want to move it any further, it has to be in your color or a white die. And then you have to pay money for it. And it's that part of this game is very, very tight. And also that's what makes this game part of what I like. I like games that are difficult. If it's too easy, big deal.
Yeah, and this rondelle is not easy to manage. Like each game, it randomizes where the resources are going to be at. And the resources are not only just the things that you're utilizing to build the cathedral. There's also money and these various gems. And these gems, you need them to add the decorations onto the cathedral after it's been built. And that gives you a certain amount of prestige points. So you're really jumping around trying to figure out what's going on, how we're going to be able to manipulate this. And I mean, it's rough.
And wherever you go with your die, you can get a resource. You can get a wood, a rock, gems, gold. That's what you get automatically. Up above each of these quadrants, there's 4 quadrants. They also allow you to break the game in other ways. You can turn in certain amounts of the same type of resource for one that you need. You can turn in money, make it a resource, or make resources money, or you can build an additional item onto your cathedral. It's the different quadrants have 4 different cards. Are there more cards than that?
Yeah, there's a bunch of cards in there.
So that's a lot of variability in those cards of when you go to this quadrant. Hey, I'll always get wood here. I always get brick here. I think there's like 2 or 3 spaces to a quadrant. So you can always get that resource. But then on top of that, there's a card over that quadrant. Well, then I can utilize this power, which enables me to turn in 4 of this type of 4 woods to get 2 gold if I really need that gold or something.
So there's so much variability, not only in the setup of the game, how the game scales, the cathedral gets bigger or smaller depending on the amount of players. Each game is going to be different. The randomness of the dice, because the pips, every time you move a dice, you then roll all the dices in that space. The various little
dices. Die.
Dices.
Is die or dice plural?
Die is plural. There is no dices.
Okay, so there's no dices.
Dices is the when you cut something up.
That's what Andrew owns.
Dice.
That's dices right there.
Dices.
Yes.
Andrew
Clay.
Dices.
Oh no, Clay's his last name.
Yeah.
Andrew Dice Clays. Never mind. Ignore that.
Nobody knows who you're talking about.
All the boomers do.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
No, I'm not a boomer. I'm Gen X.
You're
baby.
right. Yeah, they're not. But the boomers are all.
They probably know too.
They know too.
Okay. Boomers are supposed to be after World War II because everybody
had the baby boom
before they left off to war. When they came home from war, they made babies.
Correct.
But there was a long time between World War II and the 80s.
Yeah, but the baby boomers were like that generation, like that 50s, born in the 50s.
Okay.
Somewhere around that. I don't know who decides what these things are called.
I don't either.
But we're not us. My point being is that the Red Cathedral, I haven't played it solo yet. Would love to play it solo to see how it shakes out. But just our brief time with it, this has truly been a very thanky, very engaging game. Like, not just with the artwork, the components. There's not a lot of player interaction. There is a very little bit of like, it feels like a race. Like, I'm certainly hurrying to try to get my stuff done before you, but the game is very tight. Yeah. Like, the scoring on it was very, very close. And after the cathedral is built, or close to being built, you then score all the various towers in them, and then that's kind of like area control. Whoever has the most influence, the most workers, the most flags, so to speak, in that tower, they score that tower and all of its points. And so there's that. There's just a lot going on in this game for it being such a small box game. De Vere's a fine company, by the way.
They make great games.
We've talked about Red Cathedral from every aspect.
I don't think
sociology.
Whatever was in me a minute ago that enabled me to do the Russian accent, it's gone now.
Ecumenically, we've done it. We broke this game down. It's good. We've knocked this out of the park.
Red Cathedral.
It feels great.
I love the feel this game gave me.
What kind of feeling?
Satisfaction.
But you can't get none.
We discussed that was a sensation, though.
But you got it, though.
I got some satisfaction.
From such a small box.
Even though I lost.
You did lose.
But it was by 5 points.
Heartedly. 5 points. It doesn't matter inch or mile.
It don't matter if it's inch or mile.
With a De Vere game.
Losing's losing.
It's a loss.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode.
Are we done? Is this over?
Yeah.
I think we should put it to a vote.
I say we're over.
I won't keep going.
Yep.
Keep it
Well,
going.
Nope.
How long is this?
He who holds the mouse holds the key.
Well, okay.
All right. That's going to do it for this episode.
BoardGameSnobs@gmail.com.
Podbean, baby.
Wait a minute. We got to do another ad.
No,
We have an ad. I have an ad.
Do you have
Yes.
one? For
We got, hang on. Well, this is not from a sponsor or nothing, but I figure if we do ads, eventually we can get,
Maker's Mark Whiskey.
well, no, we get people on. So it's like, are you naked? Do you need clothing? SirMeeple.com.
There you go. SirMaple.com.
Yes, SirMeeple.com.
Would you like to clothe yourselves in merch of Board Game Snobs?
Not just ours. Maybe you're not a fan of ours. Maybe you're the fan.
Part of the Gateway Network. We got too many things going on.
Maybe. No, they don't do the Gateway Network.
No, they
Have
don't.
you ever been to SirMeeple.com?
Yes.
No, then why are you talking about things that aren't on SirMeeple.com?
I just said us. We're part of the Gateway Network.
You don't talk about stuff. This is why this episode sucks.
God,
because
this
you
is
did
terrible.
We're not wizards. They're on there. Ben Maddox is on there.
He doesn't even podcast anymore.
He does occasionally,
What's he
every
up to?
4 months.
He's even talking about closing up his Facebook group. Richard, come on our show and let's talk about everything going on.
Whenever he gets out of rehab, that's when he does an episode. I wish you'd be more supportive.
How dare you?
Why are you
besmirch the name of Richard?
I'm not disperching him.
You're not disperching.
No. Dick Simpson is one of my closest comrades.
Tricky Dick. I am not a podcaster.
He interviews people. He's more of an interviewer.
That's going to do it for this episode. I dread the day I have to edit it.
There's nothing to edit.
I'm Gabi.
This is the greatest podcast that can be unedited for your listening pleasures.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Board Game Snobs. Stay classy.